All right, good morning, at least for me. I just wanted to record a quick video and explain a question that I got asked via email. So sometimes I think it's easier just to record a quick video and share what my experience is. And so today's question, somebody hopped into the Holistic Nutrition Hub's consulting platform to give it a shot and see what the functionality was of it, and they're already paying for a meal planning service, let's say with That Clean Life. Another one that is really popular right now is Meal Garden as well. They both have very similar functionality. And so this person's question was, what's the difference between the Holistic Nutrition Hub and That Clean Life? And also asking, just trying to sort out which platform is actually going to work best for my business. And so there's a bunch of questions that we kind of have to go over in order to, kind of guide somebody. Obviously, I prefer to come at this without a bias. Even though the Holistic Nutrition Hub is my consulting platform that I created, I always come at these questions with what is going to keep the practitioner, in top form when they're running their business, because there's a lot of work to go in behind meal planning for clients and also trying just to stay on top of everything. So my first question is, to ask the practitioner, how many meal plans per week are you creating? Are they very specific to, macros, calories, that sort of thing? Because that functionality is actually very integrated into a platform such as That Clean Life. And so what is better for the practitioner is really hard to answer unless I know more about what the business is offering. However, what I can share today is kind of my experience with That Clean Life, where I found it really helpful, where our platform differs, and then also why you might want to use our platform over another platform. So it really does depend on the type of business that you have. I'm going to give my example for using That Clean Life. I was running a meal planning business. I had multiple clients per week where I was creating catered meal plans for them and then meal prepping for them. And so I had a really busy practice with other holistic nutritionists actually working underneath me and meal planning as well. So we use this software multiple times a day, which paid for itself. And That Clean Life, I'm going to put it out there, isn't the cheapest platform. It's quite expensive, especially if you're just getting started. However, if you are making multiple meal plans per week or per day for that matter, this is by far the most practical solution. So using a platform to cut the amount of time that it takes you to meal plan. Now, our platform differs slightly. There is templates where you can create recipes and save them, and you can also create meal plans within. However, the functionality is definitely much less. You can't track the macros on the actual recipe builder itself. So there are some outages there. But if you're only making a meal plan once a month, or you want to create a lead magnet, let's say for your website, where you put together a meal plan that's catered to somebody, let's say with autoimmune conditions, that could be a blanket recommendation for people. Our platform is definitely sufficient because once you create it, you have it forever. And once you create the recipes within the platform, you're also going to have those forever. They don't go away. They stay on the platform itself. Now, the difference between That Clean Life and us is that they're a meal planning software. So you only get meal planning with it. And like I said, it's not the most low cost per se. So with our platform, you get other functionalities which you don't actually get within a meal planning software. So for example, we have the vitamin and mineral deficiency assessment, which is unique to our platform. And with that assessment, you can see if somebody is showing symptoms of their of deficiency in certain vitamins and minerals. And then we have a recommendation tool for nutrients as well, which, say somebody shows up with a vitamin A deficiency, you can click on drop-down menu, you click vitamin A and it gives you everything that you need in order to help recommend foods, the depleters of that vitamin, and then lifestyle recommendations that could be beneficial for that client. So that goes a little bit more in depth, and then that will help you thus meal plan for them. So that covers all the vitamins and minerals, and also will help you with all your recommendations so that you don't have to flip through all the books. Then we have the total body systems assessment, which of course is a huge one. This is going to look at all the body systems and help you know which area we're going to be targeting. Are you going to be targeting the digestive system? Great. So now you know which vitamins and minerals you most likely need to go with, and then also which body system you need to target. And of course, there's other forms on our platform, an invoice generator, the meal planner, but to that point, you can also store your client information in terms of, when you sent forms out, which forms you sent out. They come back in a really nice PDF result for you, where you can store then offline and securely in a safe area, right? Like we've been taught to do. But you can also keep your clients kind of stored in there. So you have one area that you have client management available to you. So I'm just going to quickly actually hop over to the platform to kind of show you these different things, because discussing it and showing it are two different things. So I'm just going to share my screen here and kind of explain how you can either create a meal plan or a recipe within the Holistic Nutrition Hub. This is definitely a cost-saving way and doesn't have anywhere near as much as the functionality as another meal planning app would have. However, we have created ways on the customer management system and also the form sender that is going to allow you to include these PDFs that are created in a different platform if you are wanting to make use of all the tools and all of the other benefits that the Holistic Nutrition has as well. So for example, here we have our form sender. And so when you come in here, you can select your client, change the email title and the message to the client. So say you're doing a client intake and you need an intake form and a consent form or a medical history form. All of these are over here in our tool section, and I can cover those at the end of the video. For example, if you're first, wanting to intake a client, you can go to client intake form, medical history, informed consent agreement, and then maybe a food and symptom journal. And the other tools that we have available on here are the kitchen equipment questionnaire. The last thing that you want to be doing is recommending meal plans for, say, smoothies or energy balls, and that the client doesn't have a blender or a food processor. Then you can find out what their kitchen equipment looks like, how in-depth these recipes can be for them, because that can be a, a problem. I found that a lot in my business. So here you have the option, say you're working with That Clean Life or another meal planning app. You can put your message to your client here, and I know you can give unique links, for example, of the meal plans that you've created. And so you can just put a link in here that allows you, say, on your second email to them to input the meal plan here. So say you've now collected all of this medical history and food and symptom journal, and you know exactly which way you want to go with your meal plan. You've now created your meal plan. You can come back in here and send them a link to that meal plan that you've created for them. Now, there's a lot of other ways, you can attach a PDF here. Again, you can send a link by uploading it onto Google and having that accessible to the client as well. And you just include that in the email area. But in terms of the functionality, the Holistic Nutrition Hub has a lot of other forms and has a lot of other abilities that, wouldn't necessarily be available in a meal planning app. So over here, if we go to tools and we're wanting to create a recipe again, we can create it and it gets saved on the back end of the Holistic Nutrition Hub. So we can go to the recipe builder here. And this is how the recipe comes out. You can totally brand everything. It gives you some notes, the ingredients, the directions, and then prep time, overall time, and servings. So here you can, for example, send directly to the client. You can send it to your inbox, like your email inbox, or you can save it to My Documents, which is then stored up in your practitioner area up here. So you just enter the recipe title, the prep time, the notes that you have on it, who's created, so you obviously, and then all the ingredients, and you can add and remove steps as you need. And then you just simply click create recipes. And that's going to be stored however you decided to store it up here, and you can save two different ways, or send, sorry, three different ways. So you can send directly to the client, which we don't normally recommend because you want to bunch all your recipes together, maybe in a meal plan or something along those lines. But if you do select Save to My Documents, you can move up here under the Tools section, and you're going to go to My Documents and Handouts. And here it's going to save the recipe for you. So here you can see that I've created, 4 different recipes, which you can then later on go and use. And so here you can go in and view it as a finished product, and then download it if you need to. Then there comes the question of how do you merge them, and that is really dependent on your computer software, but you can always send it individually as well. So here's the meal plan, and then here's all the recipes, and you just can attach them individually. But this is how the meal plan, the recipe comes out. So you can see that it looks really clean, really simple, and you can add in your logo here. Now, the other option is again with the meal planner. So again, very simple. You just go over to your tools. You can create a meal plan using the weekly meal planner here. And you have a document that comes out like this. Again, creating it is very, very similar to creating a recipe. So you go Save to My Documents, send to my inbox, whichever you choose. I usually send to both, and then that way you can have a copy on your computer and then a copy on the back end of your practitioner account to store the documents. And then you can create the recipe. I keep getting confused about which one I'm talking about. You can then create your meal plan here based on days, week, your prep notes, and that sort of thing here. And you just, again, create weekly planner, and it's going to pop up and be saved in your documents area. So you're going to go over to your documents area, and again, you'll be able to view your weekly meal planners here and then view them by downloading. Again, you can see, you can brand it. This is week 1 of the recipes, say it's a 4-week meal plan. And then she has all of the names and titles of everything. Say you regularly use recipes over and over and over again. Of course, those recipes are saved on the back end, and so you can easily just add them to your meal plan. Or if you have blanket recommendations that you want to use for people, here's a high protein recipe plan for you. You can then, use that multiple times, or create a lead magnet, which is really easy as well. So that's a little bit about the meal planning abilities. So the forms and the tools are really, what set us apart in terms of separating us from other meal planning apps, because we're not technically a meal planning app. I would say we are more of a customer management system, and also a place to send our forms to and from. So consent form, our consent form, our intake form, and that sort of thing. And so what does set us apart, are these client recommendation tools. There is an area here. So say you're giving recommendations to your client, based on lifestyle, or based on movement, or based on exercise, or whatever it is. This is then the document that you can send to them and create a form here. And really the idea of this is to remove a lot of the difficulty it takes, to get somebody to fill out a paper form. These are all online questionnaires. They're very simple to use. And so you can select your client here and start making your recommendations. So you can save the title here. You create a recommendation, for example, for your client, and then you make the recommendations, the date, and that sort of thing. I like to display my custom email footer. And here you can, really hone in on what their main focus and goals are, their ideal foods that they should be eating. So here's where you would display the nutrient recommendation tool. So say you had a client, fill out that vitamin and mineral deficiency assessment form, and you want to know what recommendations to make in terms of supplementation. This is by far something that you can't really go without, in my opinion, because say they did show up with a vitamin B12 deficiency or symptoms of, you can go vitamin B12, and then you can select a category as to what you would like to view here. So do you want to see top foods, what the depleters are? Maybe they drink a lot of caffeine, maybe they smoke, maybe, there's all these things here we can see, depleters, lack of stomach acid, alcohol, and smoking. So if you think that they have digestive issues like indigestion or things like that, this might be a clue for you to kind of look at and see, okay, well, I can make this connection now because they've shown this deficiency. We also have the top foods. So when you're making ideal food recommendations, you can put the ideal food recommendations down in here and send that to them so that they can see that these are the foods that you're going to be integrating into their meal plan. And if you don't want to create a meal plan for that matter, it's beneficial to you because you can then obviously show what they should be focusing on. Something I said the other day that I think really hit home for me is we're in this realm of depletion versus like giving ourselves, self-care and rebuilding, right? So if we take away a bunch of stuff, that's really hard for a client to hear. However, if we can say, we're going to add in these foods to help rebalance these symptoms that you're having, that usually rings true for a lot of people and makes it easier for them. Like, we're going to add foods in before we even touch a supplement, for that matter, So here's a really great way to kind of show them, like, we don't have to follow a strict meal plan. I just want you to base 5 of your meals around, say, like turkey, and then one with cheese, and then one with eggs, and those sorts of things, in order to be getting these vitamins up wherever they show this potential for depletion. We can do it again with magnesium. Obviously, we all know that 95% of people are usually deficient in magnesium. And so here we can show the top foods. And, again, say, in 3 out of your 5 meals, I'd love you to add in some of these ingredients. And again, you can make a meal recommendation. You could do lamb with almonds and veggies on the side, make some kind of lamb almond curry or something along those lines that is exciting and includes these foods that they need to be trying to include. Then, of course, we have lifestyle recommendations and the supplement recommendations. So if you do think that your client is very depleted in these areas, or they're showing a high level of depletion, this is definitely somewhere that you may want to recommend supplements. So those are kind of the differences. We have a lot more functionality in terms of creating a seamless practice for your clients, because here you can create this recommendation document. And I'm going to show you here actually one that I've created so that you can see that you can put links down in the bottom. Here you can see that I created the recommendations and I sent them. So when you click here, you can add in the link at the bottom of that form creator to include the meal plan link to that Clean Life, for example. So here I actually have links to the supplements that I wanted her to take. However, you could put your 1-week meal plan and then create a link here. Or, if you are selling supplements and you make a kickback on it, you can definitely add in this link at the bottom of the resources. So it's a pretty long video to try and explain what I wanted to explain. However, it does share what the functionality is of the Holistic Nutrition Hub versus the functionality of just a meal planner. They can go hand in hand. However, again, spending the money on a meal planner may not be worth it if you have the option of creating a meal plan in here. It may take just slightly more time, but it's still going to be less than fiddling with, say, like a Word document or something like that, because you can save it at the end and create your own meal plans, for people based on, autoimmune conditions or different protocols, for example, like a keto meal plan or whatever it is that you're dealing with. So that's a little bit different. If you guys would like a link to that Clean Life, it's available in the description. The Holistic Nutrition Hub, feel free to sign up for a free 2-week trial where you get access to all of these different options in terms of usability. And we definitely recommend that you test it out on yourself first and just see how the platform functions. It's super user-friendly. I, again, created it just based on my own need in practice, and it's working amazingly, for a lot of people. So if you have questions, feel free to comment below or send me a message directly, and we can go from there. Thanks for watching.